Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Muhammad, the moderator of PhD Live Talk series. This series consists of friendly conversations that discusses some of the challenges facing PhD researchers and sharing their experiences and stories with everyone. This episode will focus on doing a postdoc as one potential pathway after the PhD. There will be some tips that may help researchers who are considering a postdoc. The episode's guest speaker is Dr. Ziv Ben Zion. He is a Fulbright postdoctoral fellow in the Decision Neuroscience Lab and the Stress and PTSD Lab at Yale University. Dr. Ziv received his bachelor degree in biology, psychology, and neuroscience from Tel Aviv University. He then completed an interdisciplinary direct PhD program in neuroscience from Tel Aviv University and Tel Aviv Sourasky Medical Center. Ziv's PhD research focused on uncovering neural and cognitive moderators of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. In his postdoc at Yale, he is trying and attempting to further understand the neural mechanisms underlying anxiety and stress-related disorders. Welcome Dr. Ziv to the PhD Live Talk series. Would you please tell us what is your postdoc research about?
In my postdoc research, I aim to investigate a very complicated but interesting question, at least in my opinion. So I want to examine three different processes that are very basic and important. One is learning, the second one is decision making, and the third one is memory. Three very broad processes. And also to test each one of them in two different domains. In a positive, rewarding domain and in a negative, loss domain. Because those processes could be different across different domains in our life. Specifically, I'm interested in the neuroscience behind these processes, or in a thing that we call neural computations, which is basically what does our brain compute or what does our brain do while we are learning or while we are making a choice or a decision or while we have different memory processes. There are several defined neural computations already in the literature, and of course there will be some others. And my interest is specifically to investigate those neural computations in healthy population or the general population versus individuals suffering from different mental disorders. More specifically, I'm interested in post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and anxiety disorders. I think it could be a really cool and important project because most studies to date only examined one specific process, let's say learning in one specific domain, for example, reward learning, and try to kind of separate these processes for all the others. But we know that in the real life, actually, we live in a very complicated world, and all these processes are happening together, the learning, the memory, the decision making, and we cannot really separate them from one another. So my goal is to study it in a more naturalistic way, using a more naturalistic and real-life paradigm, and trying to find a more real-life answer to that question that would hold not only in an experimental setting or lab setting, but will also have meaning in the real life.
How did you end up with a postdoc position?
To be honest, I didn't plan ahead all my way going through the academy with the bachelor, PhD, postdoc, academic position, but rather at every point in my life, I just made one decision focused on the next period of time, the next challenge, and when this challenge was about to end or ended, then I decided what to do next. Same thing happened with the end of my PhD. In the last year of my PhD, I started to think what I want to do and what are the options, whether it's to go to a postdoc abroad, which is something that I always wanted to do, as an experience at least, or if it is to go to the industry or do something else. After checking the options and talking with many different people at different fields, I decided to go for the postdoc position for a variety of reasons, but mainly because I think it's a great time period to get your training, to increase your knowledge, your skills, to do research in the best places in this world, uh, and of course, work with the greatest people in the best universities, such as Yale University, plus the social thing and the challenge of moving to a different country and meeting a new culture and changing your life is also something that attracted me a lot. So after I decided that's what I want to do, I started to check the options for a postdoc. Um, First of all, just checking online or from people that I know, who they know, kind of connections between people and researchers all over the world that work in my fields or in relevant fields that are looking for postdocs. And after several months of looking for it, I think I got to final three options, which I had with three different great mentors and great universities, of course. And I understood that choosing each one of them would be a great choice, even though it was very difficult to say no to two of those three options. In the end, I chose Yale University and I chose my mentors, Professor Ifat Levy and Professor Ilan Paz Rotem, both because of their, of course, great scientific work and research work that is also very relevant to my interests, but also because of the personal connection and what I felt during the conversation with them. They were very enthusiastic about working together. They were very welcoming and inviting. And more than that, I had the opportunity to meet them personally during a period of global pandemic, the COVID-19, in which I couldn't really travel to the States and meet other people. And they were visiting Israel at the time. So that was also great timing for me and great opportunity to meet the people in person. So I've made that decision. Fast forward several months, and I got to Yale.
And how is your postdoc experience so far at Yale University?
My experience at Yale so far have been really amazing. I arrived here over a year ago in summer 2021. I started officially in July 1st of 2021. And I've experienced many different things, of course. Some are more positive, some are more challenging. Um, Adjusting to a whole new research or scientific world, um, to two mentors, two lab members, but also beyond the science to get used to a different culture, the American culture, getting used to living in a different country by myself, making new friends at work and outside of work, and even minor things which I didn't think about, like different weather. For me, was a big challenge to spend my first real winter here in New Haven, something that I never experienced in Israel. From a scientific point of view, I can really say that Yale is very high quality institute with the best researchers in the world, and also enable you to connect with all the top researchers, even if they are in other institutes here in the States or anywhere around the globe. The working conditions here are great. You get all the resources that you need. You get your opportunity to conduct independent research as a postdoc, to come with your own ideas, and I enjoyed very much. And I will finish my answer to this question with a very nice metaphor that I borrowed from one of my friends, which is also Israeli and did his postdoc at Harvard in the US. And he told me that moving from Israel to a postdoc at the US is like moving from playing soccer in the National League, Israeli League, for example, to playing soccer in the Champions League with all the big teams, Barcelona, Real Madrid, all the real champions. So I really feel like that, of course, as a metaphor for the research world here.
Do you have any tips to increase the chances of getting a postdoc position?
Overall, I think I was very lucky with my chances of postdoc positions. As I mentioned, I had several different options, all of them in great institutes with great mentors. And I had the privilege to even choose which one I like the most and looking at all the aspects, even not the scientific ones. But in order to get a postdoc position or to be that lucky as me in general, I would recommend, first of all, in your PhD, to be in a lab that is well connected to other labs, not only in the national level, but also in the international level. It's usually helpful to go to a lab with a professor that has a connection with other professors abroad, that students before you finished their PhD and went and did postdocs in big universities or top universities. And regardless to that, or in addition to that, I would also recommend to start building your own network during your PhD. If it's meeting people in conferences or commenting on Twitter or any interaction or email exchange that you have and can promote you, it's always good and important to make these connections in life in general, but in the academy specifically, to just increase the chance that one day when you will be looking for a postdoc position, if you would be looking for that, maybe you can go to that person that you spoke with, or maybe that person knows a different person. So that's one tip. Besides, of course, it's important to have publications in your PhD, to have different awards and distinctions, and really towards the end of the PhD and actively looking for a postdoc, I would also recommend applying for different grants or fellowships. So, for example, in my case, again, I was lucky that my mentors offered me funding for my time here, but I also applied to a few very distinguished, well known postdoc fellowships in Israel. One of them was Fulbright, and I am happy that I got this Fulbright postdoc scholarship, which covers my tuition or my salary for the first year of the postdoc and makes me more attractive as a potential candidate for other mentors to be hired as a postdoc. Because once you come with your own money, you have much higher chances to get an opportunity in a lab because you already show, first of all, that you have a strong scientific background if they chose you, but also that you have your own money and you don't need to be dependent on someone else's funding. And last thing, don't be shy to approach people. I would recommend to do it already in the last year of the PhD or even before that, just to email people, tell them that you're planning maybe to pursue a postdoc position, start writing yourself which labs are your direction and write to the head of lab. Sometimes people don't have a postdoc position right now, but they will have it in a year or maybe in half a year. So it's always important to give some time ahead and to reach out to as many possible directions. The worst case, someone would say no, maybe even help you to get someone else's that he knows that looking for a postdoc. So there's really no risk in that. You need to try and maximize your opportunities, and that will help you to achieve your goal.
Do you have any take-home message for other researchers considering applying for a postdoc position?
As a take-home message, it is important for me to say that choosing to apply for a postdoc position and pursuing a postdoc position is a big decision that people really need to think about it. On the one hand, it's a great opportunity and amazing opportunity, in my opinion. But with all the advantages, of course, there are some disadvantages, and you really should consider all the aspects, whether it's moving to a different country, whether you're moving alone or with a partner or with a family. The financial aspects, of course, are important. And what do you want to get out of it in the end? I think that nowadays postdoc positions are quite mandatory stage between finishing your PhD and getting an academic position as an independent researcher. But a postdoc position can also serve you afterwards to go to the industry or do something else. So it's really important to think about all the aspects, both research related and not research related. And if you decide to go for it full strength and believe, and look at it as an amazing once in a lifetime experience that you won't have a second chance for it or a third chance. So try to maximize it, enjoy, improve yourself, again, both in the research world but also outside of it. And good luck.
Stay tuned for our upcoming episodes, and we hope you find something useful in them.